All right, guys, welcome to another post-race review. Today we're doing the 2024 Battle at Primm wrap-up. With me, as always, is Brian Johnson. Brian, welcome. And we have the SNORE president, John Pellissier. John, welcome.
Thank you guys so much. I'm honored to be here with you guys.
Excellent, excellent.
Thanks for jumping in, John. So
Absolutely.
Battle at Primm, always one of the big races of the year. It seems like no matter what, there's always a decent car count in just about every class, and it's one of the funnest races of the year.
Absolutely.
So let's just jump right into it. From presidential point of view, how did the race go for SNORE?
Honestly, I think if you look at the competition, the opportunities for other events and choices out there, I'm extremely happy with the turnout. We ended up with 202 entries, I believe. And with the challenges that we had with the hotel, everybody, as you guys probably well know and watched leading up to it, the challenges with the hotel, trying to get a room rate out of the hotel was just was like pulling teeth, and there was no pulling their teeth. I don't want to publicly get into my overall feelings of the situation with them, but I'm not happy with the hotel and the way that I don't feel like it just they operated in good faith, so we weren't able to get a room rate out of them, which I know definitely impacted some numbers. I'm going to say we lost 50 cars across the board. People because they couldn't get rooms or they didn't want to pay $300 a night for a room there, and I don't blame them one bit. Some people came into town, and other people just chose not to come. Not everybody has an RV, so that was quite disappointing. But the way that things were building, I didn't think we were going to really push beyond 150 cars, and then there was a late push, and all of a sudden we hit 200. I think we actually had almost 220 pre-entered, but you know how that goes. I always say you lose 10%. Guys have issues, last minute testing.
Yeah.
The tow vehicle broke down.
Yeah.
Somebody
pops a motor at testing the day before the race. Yeah.
Right.
Stuff like that.
So with 200 entries, I was extremely thankful for that, and I think it all panned out to be really good. We ended up, out of 200 entries, we had 118 of those across the board finishing. So that's really good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
Yeah.
good. Battle at Primm is a lot more abusive on vehicles than people care to admit.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's like there's not really any rocks out there. There's like only a couple of turns where it can get choppy, but it's pretty groomed in a sense. I think it's the smoother track in comparison to Rage.
100%.
Rage is definitely more open desert, and you don't have the boulders that are out there, the big boulders and things that roll around, but there's definitely challenges there that are different, I think.
Yeah.
But
I went around the track. I rode with Daniel Richens in 1609, and I have to say that was probably the best condition I've seen the track in a long time. It was one of the fastest BAPs I've been to. It was well taken care of for sure.
Yeah, and I've got to credit that to Dave Pearson, who came out and helped build the track and graded it all in, groomed it all in, and then the guys, our volunteers that watered it leading up to the race as well. So I definitely credit to them for helping us build a great track.
So apart from and you know what, actually, before we even move on, yes, thank you to all the SNORE volunteers,
Yes.
course workers. Whenever I do see the water truck guy, I always try, hey, you want to come in and have a burger real quick? I always
Make
try
friends
to,
with them.
yeah, because they're in that truck all day long. So we thank you, all the racers.
Yeah,
We thank you
some of
for
those
being out there. So it's not a complete mess for us while we go out and have fun.
And then it's the extreme of, hey, we need water over here, and then next thing you know, that's too much. It's enough. It's enough.
Yeah.
It never fails. Us racers,
man.
we're a fickle bunch. It's never good enough.
I empathize on both ends of it. Trying to please, and get the need cured of not dusting everybody out, but then, man, you go around one lap and then you come around the next lap and it's a hot mess, slick, and then you're overshooting a turn or something like that, and as a racer that becomes very frustrating because all those seconds, that can really throw you off. And it is frustrating. I get it, but it's work in
Big time.
progress. That it's a science that's just, I don't know if we'll ever really get a hold of.
It's
But
just chalk it up to changing track conditions.
yeah, that's it for
Formula
sure.
One has nothing on us.
They've got the truth.
So, yeah, obviously we talked about the issues of the hotel. We know there was a big concert at Buffalo Bills that weekend.
Yeah,
Luckily, Primm opened. I know it was my understanding Primm is somewhat under construction or remodel, and they actually opened up for us. Is that accurate?
They open up the other properties as needed for overflow, depending on their demand. So they had this concert that was happening that same weekend, and then we generated some rooms for them, and then most people may not even know this, but we had a severe challenge that almost caused us to have a race delay because there was, I'm going to call it a group of renegade riders, and I'm not even kidding when I say this. There was well over 100 of them that were staying at Primm Valley and across at the Whiskey Pete's. They all were, from my understanding, riders, side-by-side riders out of California. And they organized a ride that weekend, but basically kind of underground. And they were attempting to leave and go out on their ride Saturday and head down to the Seven Magic Mountains. And they were going to just go out by way of the desert through our track. And on the back, on the back of the scenes, we were back there with us, the BLM, and our officials we were able to divert them across the freeway to the Whiskey Pete side and get them to go down that way. And then they went down there for a while and caused some issues. And I think I was even told they even tried to ride into town, into Vegas, but they were turned around, and then they dispersed them again from Gene, and then they started coming back at us in the afternoon. And so if anybody paid attention to all of the radio chatter of us out on the dry lake, trying to head them off because they were coming at us from the dry lake, from the access road, and from the other side, but they were all coming back in, and they were coming back in groups. And you may have even heard them Saturday night, way late in the morning, riding out on our track. It just was, there was no catching them. Half were law abiding, the other half just didn't care.
Yes.
And it became very, very stressful for a little bit, but fortunately it didn't.
Absolutely wild. I've been around racing since I was a little guy. I don't ever remember hearing an event organizer facing almost 100 weekend warriors trying to take over the track in the weekend. That's pretty nuts. But kudos to you guys and BLM for keeping it together.
There was a moment. Yeah, there was a moment they were going to ask us to shut the event down, and it was like, well, wait a minute, we're the permit holder, we're doing this correctly.
Yeah.
And then they kind of were like, well, yeah, you're right. So they did send some extra enforcement out, and it all worked out really well. I got to say, as tough as the BLM is to deal with, we have been blessed with some good rec planners lately. The last one we had, Braden, was just great. And then if it, just when you think you can't get, that consistency, we have a lady now named Courtney, and she is just really great to work with. And she just is so in favor of what we do. And, obviously she has her bosses and people to answer to, but she's definitely out there for us to support what we do and let us do what we do.
It's comforting to hear that. And I've heard Cody from Moore mention something similar. He's got a great working relationship with the BLM out of the Barstow office. Hearing you say that out of I believe it's the Clark County office, that for me, is very comforting.
Yeah.
To know that we have a good relationship, because it's almost like, I remember after the bad accident in 2010, you'd see the BLM roll by and everybody's butt kind of puckered.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, nobody move. If we don't move, they can't do anything. And now it feels a lot, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome back. I think we all kind of want that good relationship with them, and
of course you do.
I don't think we see the BLM as the bad guys we used to. It's a good working relationship now.
I think it's kind of, it comes in waves sometimes. We've had some planners that have been challenging. They have, I just say each one of them have their thing, that they kind of look out for. That's their resource they're most interested in protecting. And it depends on where they come from and their experience too. So you know, I respect it. I don't always like it, but you know, they are the gatekeeper, and we have to do what we have to do to keep them happy. And like I
Yeah.
say, we've got a really good working relationship with them right now, and that's what's important. And we're trying to foster that into the future, and put on some great races. And I think we're doing that. I think we're in a good place right now. Getting back to some of the challenges, you know, the wind obviously was a big challenge that weekend, you know, blowing as hard as it was, but we got through it.
Yeah.
My joke was I just told everybody to take their, you know, their canopies down and the wind would stop, you know. You know how it is, you put up a 10 by 10 and here comes the wind, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
But otherwise it wasn't bad. I think, you know, there's no secret to the fact that we've had timing challenges that, you know, that rolled over from Rage at the River. There was a lot of things that created that nightmare, as I'm going to call it. We worked really hard to put on a great race, and then timing just became, there were so many different challenges for that race, and they weren't all the timing people's fault, but we were working in transition of a new system, and so we had literally 3 timing systems going that weekend, and they were overwhelmed. And I have worked tirelessly with these guys. I'm like, what's it going to take to put all that behind us? You know, I give them the rope to go out and lasso everything they need to make it right. And I got to hand it to them. They're doing a great job. The last race, we had the results in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
This race, there was a very small handful of issues, and they were really keystroke issues, more or less, for them. When a few guys, you know, they brought them to my attention, I'd get personal calls and messages. And I'm like, okay, and I'd forward them on, and they said, you know, as soon as this heat's over and we get time, we'll work on it. And every complaint was valid, and every complaint, you know, was handled and resolved. And I have really just the utmost respect for what they do, because they put in a lot of time, and they're not SNORE volunteers. They're paid timing. Obviously, these people don't just work for us; they work for other people. But
Yeah.
they've really done a great job, and we've got. I'm not going to say any more than we've got some great things coming down the pipe with timing, and we are going to be at cutting edge, and it's going to be cured and as accurate as can be real soon.
I love to hear that. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's, you know, everybody loves to complain until they get the race director's job, or they get the timing person's
Yeah.
job. So as a racer, is it frustrating? Of course, but you know, I think to your credit, to SNORE's credit, you guys took every complaint, you looked at it individually, you figured it out, you got the right times. I mean, as a consumer, what, you know, apart from it running perfect, which of course we all want it to, it doesn't always
Yeah.
work that way. But I mean, you know, you appreciate the effort to make the corrections, you know, hey,
Hey,
we
I'm a racer
understand there's,
too.
yeah, exactly. You, John,
You
you
know,
know, so
I get it.
yeah.
I
I
don't
very much
discount.
see this almost as like a very thankless job, you know,
Oh.
you guys and the volunteers and everybody else. So as a racer and everybody, like I do appreciate all the effort that you and the volunteers and do. You know, it's just one of those things that happens.
Yeah.
And if you don't give us something to complain about, we will find something. I guarantee you.
And I get it, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I don't get compliments. There's a lot of you out there that, I mean, are just, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian, I've known you since you were a kid, you know. I mean, I love seeing you, what you've grown into. And Eric, I've known your family for,
Yeah.
you know, going on 20 years.
Yeah.
And Kristen, and working with her way back. I mean, I cherish all that more than you guys could even imagine. And so many people that come and repeat racing with us, it means the world to me personally. And I care about the integrity that we bring as a product. So it's that important that we do a good job. And yeah, it's challenging on my personal life, I'm not going to lie, but my wife gives me the bandwidth to do what I need to do. And I mean, we can't do some of the things without Kenny Freeman and our race director and our volunteer coordinators and our sign up people. My vice president, Sarah, what she does for registration, we've evolved registration to a quick, easy process. We've got QR codes. You do everything online. You know, you guys have to spend a few minutes online to do this stuff, but when you come now, it's quick and easy.
So much better.
So
much better. Yeah.
We brought Jamie Fagan. We brought her back in for contingency. That was a mess for quite some time. I've given her the rope she needs to make it great again, and I feel like we're getting there quickly with that again, because without sponsors and these contingency vendors that become sponsors, for you guys that care about contingency, I mean, it's a big deal. So we're on the right path, and I feel really good about where things are going. You know, there's always a speed bump that we're, you know, unforeseen things that we're going to be faced with, but I feel good about the future of SNORE and racing right now. You know, the biggest concern is just where our world economy is. If we can keep that stable enough to have some fun for a while, then it'll all be good, I hope.
Yeah.
Right.
It's yeah, it's keeping me in the garage right now. So
Right.
Well, one of the things I don't think people appreciate is how much time and effort you guys put into it. When are you focusing on Battle at Primm next year? How many months in advance?
Usually 6 months, and we're already, matter of fact, the first emails have started generating about Rage at the River. So if that gives you an idea.
Yeah.
There's so many entities that have to be dealt with. There's an underground gas pipeline. We have to get permission from them. We have to, it's called Before You Dig. You have the NV Energy, the Primm family that owns the land. If without the Primm family that owns that land, we wouldn't have that race. The hotel owners, they're really nothing. They're leasing the property, and we don't answer to them as much as they thought we did. They learned this race that we don't need them to put that race on. We have, you know, say getting the volunteers, the medical, the operations plans. You have to put, you know, the BLM permit has to go in 6 months in advance with the map on a shape file and an operations plan and a medical plan and the maps, you know, all that stuff. Ordering porta potties and dumpsters and, you know, like I say, it's an army of 100 people to make it all
so
happen.
John, hold on, time out. Would you rather have to prep your car over the course of a 3-day weekend, or plan for a full race season as president with your crew?
Well, mind you, you know, it's a group of us that do all of this too. I'm not the only guy. I promise you. I may ask questions like, hey, how are we doing on vendors? How are we doing on volunteers? How are we doing on registration and creating posters and stuff like that? But I have a love for both of these things. I've been doing this official side of it more than I have been a racer over my 34 years. And, you know, sometimes I'm like, you know, it really would be nice to go back and race and just worry about my race program. And you know, obviously last year the last couple of years, I've got to have that opportunity with racing this class 12 car, which has been a blessing, you know, by way of my best friend I grew up with, to provide the car that I help him work on it and I get to drive it. And, you know, it definitely is stressful in its own, you know, right, you know, as a racer, but it's a blessing to be able to do that as well. But I definitely, I feel like I have a calling to lead and be in this and keep SNORE's flag waving. So, you know, my plan is to be around for many years to come. I don't know how many of these years I'll be president, but I'm planning, you know, to definitely stay in the mix. Kind of like, you know, I'm like Kenny, you know, there's a few of us that have a big heart for it. And I'd love to find a few more to help us, but, you know, we'll just see where time, you know, how it goes in the future.
Well, John, we like Eric touched on it earlier, we appreciate you. We appreciate SNORE as an organization. We always have fun at the SNORE events.
Absolutely.
Before we wrap up with you real quick, I know you mentioned the SNORE team. Is there anybody else specifically you want to thank and you know, give you this time to get on the soapbox and you know, sing some praises?
Yeah, I mean, just wow. I mean, all the volunteers that make it happen, you know, like say Sarah coming up, stepping into vice president, Ashley Antle that's stepped into the role of secretary, and our treasurer Cole, he's a financial whiz, so he's helping us with dollars and cents. Mike Colosimo, what he does for side by sides. Jeff Phillips, obviously, he's you know, being the guy in the race director position. You know, it's not so much thankless, but you got to be the bad guy when you don't want to be. You know, and just, you know, events that, you know, is gathering the volunteers. There's just so many different people that make it happen. King Shocks, that was the vendor for the sponsor for this time, this event, and all our other sponsors for our big events, for all our races and stuff. You know, it was nice that King, you know, let us do what'd you guys think of that King Shock, the Shock Challenge, the Picker Challenge? That was something I just tried to do something different, you know, and I
love it. It's one of those things. So like, you know, everybody has their dedicated crew guys, right? And how often do those guys get to be the ones in the limelight that are the heroes, you know? So it's like, you know, for me, it's like, hey, get out. What if I don't win? I don't care. To get out there and like, you know,
I want something to bring people together, you know, and that's what I'm trying to trying to make some, fun things at each race, that I don't know what we can do with this next one at the night race, but I just want this to be fun, first and foremost, and not always just the humdrum cookie cutter. We go to a race, we clean up, and go home. I mean, let's have something fun at it, that we used to, like everybody used to love to go to the tree bar and things like that. Well, I'm not really, until we get our relationship right with the hotel, I don't want to go to the tree bar. I would rather have a pit party.
Sure.
So, but we'll work on that. But anyways, other than that, that's pretty much it for the moment. And like I said, again, thank you guys for having me in. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, John. Well, our next segment here, guys, is we're going to bring in the first 516 and first class 9 guys. We're going to admit them now. Bring them in.
Let's see. There we go.
There,
Dustin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing well. Ken, are you there?
I am. Let me mess with my camera.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
There we go.
Hey,
Hey,
Ken.
guys.
Dustin, thank you very much for joining us. Here we have the Class 9 winner of Battle at Primm, Dustin Gill. Dustin, thank you. And our 516 winner, Ken Flippin Jr. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you guys. So let's jump right in. Super controversial topic right off the bat. Who's faster, 9s or 516s?
9 straight up all day.
I don't know. I honestly, look, you guys know I've raced in each class for a long time. I'm 1600 guy now, but man, there's courses where I'd rather be in the 9 car. There's courses where I'd rather be in the 51600. But anytime I get you guys in a room together, I love to see if I can get you chirping at each other. But it's all in good fun.
Yeah, normally
I've seen the clock. I know.
yeah, the 516 on paper should be faster. I mean, they've got about 25 horsepower on us, open gearbox and everything, but they are a little heavier. Most of the 9 cars are in the 1500, 1600 range as far as weight goes. So, at Rage and at Primm, I was able to pull all the 516s after starting behind them both days. But I know, out in Barstow, Lucerne, it's hard to chase down a 516 in some of the rough sections. So I think it's kind of course dependent.
And it's kind of funny too. What I've found between the two classes is the cream always rises to the top. The fast guys end up running with the fast guys, and everybody else kind of runs with the guys that run their speed.
Yeah,
Well,
totally.
guys, let's jump right into it. Ken, 516 winner. Tell us about your race. How was your Saturday and Sunday?
I hate to say flawless. It was really good. I mean, we were lucky to start up front row, and after that first turn in the core track, I never saw anybody the rest of the day. Running scared for sure, but didn't have any problems. It was event free, put it that way.
And that's the thing, when you get out front like that, then the biggest fear is like, you start thinking about the prep of your car. God, I hope I got it all right. And then,
every noise you get after every turn, it's oh God, what was that? What was that?
You got to enjoy the clean air, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. And the clean car, because there wasn't much mud on me.
Right.
That extra 50 pounds of mud wasn't there from being behind somebody. So.
Dustin, what about you? How was your race weekend?
Overall, in the car, it was pretty smooth sailing. I had no issues for the most part. On the tow out, had some issues, but I blew a tire on the rear dual in the motorhome, and then one of the dogs jumped underneath my feet, and I was all over the freeway just outside of Yermo on the way out to Primm. But yeah, ran a Tesla off the road, but it's all good. Other than that, race day, both Saturday and Sunday were pretty easy. I got to give it up to my wife because I got stuck at work for 10 days in a row leading up to the week of going out to Primm. So I didn't get off work until late Wednesday night, Thursday morning. And I was towing out Thursday morning. So she ran around and got the car prepped for me. And, there's a lot of people that have this misconception that Class 9 is super, super expensive to prep. But after winning Rage, I literally only changed the tie rod ends, the front ball joints, and fluids and oils, and went over nuts and bolts. So I spent less than $400 prepping the car for Primm, and to be able to walk away with a win was huge. And You know, it was great racing both days. Really, really close. You know, Sunday I only got the win by 16 seconds. So, you know, class 9 is definitely, it's competitive. You know, it's just a matter of getting more entries in the class so that, you know, we have some of those battles like the 1600 guys do. So,
You know, and
And
both you guys, your lap times all, you know, were within your individual lap times were within 20 seconds of each other the whole time each day. You know,
Wow.
Ken, you ran super consistent, and Dustin, you as well. I mean, that speaks to your driving skills, you know, a lot.
Mm,
it
mm.
also speaks to how close Battle at Primm really gets. It's 20 seconds a lap. It's not much,
Yep.
you know, and you chip away at your competition. It shows how close the racing is at Battle at Primm.
And 516, they all finished. So
Mhm.
if you had any issue, you're going to lose a position just on that, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But Ken, did you have the same prep schedule as Dustin there?
You know, if anybody knows me, knows that I cannot stand to turn a wrench. Can't stand it. I'll pay for the stuff. I'll do logistics. I love to drive, but my I blew a what I thought was first gear. This is what I know about cars at Rage, and it turns out it was shifting fork. So Mike Meehan does my motor and tranny and my prep. So I took it down to him, and he's super busy. He's at NORA today, but he spit it out in time and top notch. I think he actually rebuilt the shock and greased some things. So we were in good shape, and it was pretty simple to take care of. And I think we do a full prep once a year, and
Oh, wow.
those things last.
Yeah. Well,
If you go ahead, Eric. Yeah.
well, that and your car, I've got personal knowledge of your car. There's a 83 Jimco, I believe, you know, and great bones just in the car itself. So the car, it's one of the lighter 516s. I think when I had it race ready was about 1950, 1950 pounds or
Still
so.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the overweight driver and co-driver that makes all the difference.
I feel you.
Guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all a little familiar with that one, except Dustin's looking pretty swole down there. So
Yeah.
He's all muscle, man.
weight. Yeah, it's still weight. So
yeah.
Hmm.
So no, but that's good, Ken. I'm glad you got out there. I've raced against you guys with Rulo and Guy Saavedra and all those guys for years. So we always love seeing our friends do well. You know, and Dustin and I, we've chopped it up in 1600 a couple times, and we've put that on hold, and I can't wait to do that again with you, man. That's always fun. That was the 2021 Sweet 16, right?
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
that one was a lot of
Dustin and
fun.
I were toe to toe for something like 9-10 miles, like literally like this in each track, just back and forth. So it's always good having those battles, and then we get to get on these podcasts and tell the stories, right?
Yeah. So what's next for you guys? Ken?
I will probably do the Moore race in Glen Helen next,
Okay.
and then I always finish up the year with Rage.
Okay.
I try to stick to 3 or 4 races a year. I'm a single privateer, let's say,
Mhm.
and I'm just doing it for fun, you know. And it's the guys who really go after the points championship. You know, they're the heart and soul of this thing, and that's great.
Yeah.
Well, you're off to a good start with the Air Cool Championship if you want to, you know, keep that on your schedule.
I think the calendar's not going to allow for that. I think I'm traveling out of the country or something. But I know lots of people are going to do it. It's a great deal.
Yeah.
Kenny
Absolutely.
Freeman put up some good money with that. 20,000 for first and 10 for second for the 3 races. Be this one, Battle at Primm, Pahrump, the point to point, and our Rage at the River.
Mm-hmm.
The combination of those 3, whoever's at the top of the points there.
And John, that's all air-cooled engines, correct?
Correct. Air-cooled cars classes only.
Yeah. Another great thing that SNORE's bringing to the table for all the, you know, limited and air-cooled motors guys. It's great. It's great. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Dustin, what do you have planned for the rest of the year?
I was gonna actually take a short hiatus, take the summer off, just focus on work, and then try and do I need to get a shop and do an addition to the house. So trying to plan that stuff out. And then October I was looking at getting back after it. I do want to make the trek up and do a Vora race, one of the longer distance races. But with the air cooled challenge that SNORE's thrown down and me winning Primm, it's hard to not try to go after that, especially with Primm and Rage being two of the higher entry races. So we'll see. It'll probably be, if I do have a shot at the air cooled challenge, it's hard. The 1600 cars and the 11 cars get the entry, so they're getting max points. And class 9, especially in those longer distance races, is not a high entry class. The 9 cars are just really, really hard on the body. So we'll see. I've been talking with the Florida guys, and it'd be cool to kind of get some folks to go up there. We thought about doing Virginia City to Tonopah, especially since it's starting in Virginia City this year. Down Main Street, which would be a cool experience. But like I said, that Primm race it's part of the air cooled challenge. It's also got a little bit of distance, so that'd be nice to do a little bit closer than Virginia City. And then probably finish it out with Rage this year, and try to work some stuff out for next year. So
the gamble is on this air cooled challenge is, even though 16 and 11 and Stockbug have the numbers, if the same people aren't winning, that is in your favor.
Yeah.
So don't discount it, or your opportunity.
Yeah. Oh no, it's the issue though is that Stockbug winner, that Flamonte car, they're quick everywhere they go. Even at the 1,000, they push that car to the limits and they still finish. And then Malloy's known as being a distance driver, not even a short course driver, and he won Primm. So he's stepping up huge. So you have two guys in those classes that are decent drivers, and they definitely have a good shot, and they have the entries on their side too. But like I said, don't count me out just yet. I might try to rally the 9-car troops and see if we can get some folks out there for the Primm race. And Rage will probably be the big entry for the 9 cars too. So
absolutely.
And Glen Helen's always a huge entry for all of the limited Volkswagen classes. So
right on. Well, Ken, is there anybody you want to thank before we head out here? Sponsors, family, friends, go for it.
Well, SNORE always. First of all, John's doing a great job. Jeff Phillips is right there. The volunteers, you got to thank them. My motor training guys, Mike Meehan, Cops Racing. Love that guy, love his family and what he does for the sport. And basically, we're privateers, so my main sponsor is me, flippins.com, and a little company called Living the Dream. And beyond that, just sticker free on the side of the car.
Nice and clean.
Nice and clean.
Good having you out, Ken. Appreciate you, man.
Right on, guys.
Dustin, who do you want to thank for getting you out there?
My wife, first and foremost, for helping me get the car done. Then also my dad. My dad came down, helped work on the car. I got to thank the Checkers Off-Road Club. I think it's the longest standing off-road club, continuous off-road club in the history. We're in our 50th year of the club, 50th consecutive year. We've been hardcore since 74. So going strong. I got voted driver of the year last year. So just still trying to represent for Checkers. Also like to thank Joel Moore at More Performance for doing my motor and trans. He's got the motor and transmission dialed on this thing. So Chad Cummings at Podium Performance, tuning the car and setting the car up. This thing flies the most level out of any 9 car out there. No issues with this car on the big bumps. It doesn't buck real hard. So also Kurt Young's at DC Shock Services for doing my shocks for me. Great guy. Weddle Performance. There's a whole slew of other folks. Tim Cecil, Sign Pros. There's a few companies that kind of help me, because just like Ken, I'm kind of I'm on my own, paying for it all by myself. I've got good support behind me, but it's all coming out of the checkbook. So my wife and kids feel it for sure. But it's a love, and I've got a 1-year-old son, and he's already into it. Anytime he hears his car fire up, he's running out here trying to jump in the driver's seat with me. So
Nice.
also John at SNORE, thank you for putting on the races. John and I have been talking a little bit here and there and trying to figure out what we need to do to build
a lot of it.
Class 9.
You do a lot for the class. You're one of the best reps I've come across in a while. So thank you for all you do.
Yeah, we're I'm trying to be out there, and and I get into a lot of internet arguments over some stuff. But again, my deal is I'm there to rep Class 9, and what the racers want, I'm there to voice my opinion for and push for. So it's not my opinion, but the class as a whole and all the racers. So talking with John, it's been good, and SNORE definitely stepped up. And I think Class 9, hopefully there's some fast cars that have been sold and some new people stepping up and into the class and trying to get their kids involved. So hopefully the entry numbers build and we can show what Class 9 is. So
excellent. Well, guys, I just again want to thank you for coming on, and congratulations on your win. First place, Class 9, Dustin Gill. First place, 516, Ken Flippin Jr. Again, thank you guys for coming on and joining us. For everyone watching, thank you for watching this. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Share this with your friends and leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing for you. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
All right. Thank you, guys.